the skepticism. What was it? What did you think about? For instance, the beginning of the universe, or infinity, the end of the universe.
I don't remember a lot of curiosity about the beginning of the universe
No?
growing up. And I think even now, if I thought that it was completely out of reach of scientific understanding, I wouldn't think about it very much. And in a way, on a day-to-day basis, I don't, because I think it's still out of reach. But I think that getting a better understanding of what the Big Bang was, although it's not at hand in terms of our science nowadays, is something we can imagine being at reach with some reasonable extrapolation of what we're doing into the future. I think that it's kind of clear that the Big Bang is where the physical theories that I'm interested in, quantum mechanics and general relativity, and their unification, is important. And to the extent we make progress with it, it's quite likely there will be a basic new insight about the Big Bang. And although I think that's still pretty far away, it's kind of close enough that you can have some fun thinking about it now and then.
What's the fun?
Oh, the fun is trying to imagine how a problem would be solved, even if you know you can't solve it yet. In the specific case of what the beginning of the universe was, at first sight, just at a naive level, it looks like it involves some contradictions. If the clock started at a certain time, what was there before they started? What was before the beginning, and how were the clocks started? It seems like these are issues that involve contradictions, but usually in science, if there's an apparent contradiction, it's because there's a hidden assumption being made in the way the question is asked. And when you probe more deeply, you eventually learn that if you correct the hidden assumption, there isn't a contradiction anymore. I certainly think that'll happen concerning these naive questions about the beginning. And to my way of thinking, the first really modern idea about how that would be, even though they didn't solve the problem, but the first modern idea about how the problem might be solved, of making sense of the beginning, was by Wheeler and DeWitt, who in the 60s recognized that the notion, what was there before the clock started, is tied to assuming that there's something called time in the universe. Time is a very good and useful concept under everyday conditions, but many things we take for granted in everyday life have turned out in physics only to be approximations. Wheeler and DeWitt pointed out that what should happen when quantum gravity is important is that the notion of time is only an approximate notion. There's a little bit of fuzziness in the concept of time. It doesn't bother us because the error in our watches, for instance, is much bigger than the fuzziness that comes from quantum gravity. But as you get back toward the Big Bang, this fuzziness in the notion of time would be important. So the concept of Wheeler and DeWitt was roughly that the more you get back to the Big Bang, the less you can make sense of the notion of time. And ultimately, therefore, a question such as what was there before the clock started won't make any sense. Because back at what we informally called the beginning, the concept of time didn't make sense. Like I say, I don't think this is the complete solution, but I do expect it'll turn out that they were on the right track.
Yeah.